Make sure that the hydrophone is switched off and the tube is clean and dry before opening it. Remove the cap from the switch to allow air to enter the tube. Unscrew it and pull it upwards. Remove the quick release pin from the ring located on the upper tube end. Then unscrew this ring. Be careful, the rings on the different tubes cannot be interchanged. Unscrew and remove the 4 wing nuts from the upper tube end. Block the lower end of the tube between your feet. Pull the upper tube end upwards. You can now retrieve the data recorded on the SD card. Remove the used batteries one by one, starting with the one surrounded by the fabric strap. Remember to send the batteries to the appropriate disposal facility. To install the new batteries, first position the inner part of the tube upright with the upper end at the top. Put the batteries in the first tier according to the print on the battery pack. In order to make it easier to insert the batteries into the battery pack, the print recommends inserting them into the middle tier first and to make use of the flexibility of the power pack. Do the same for the second tier, not forgetting the central battery. To easily assemble the third tier, use one of the batteries already positioned in the pack by forcing it to change columns by inserting it between 2 batteries of another column. Before placing the last battery, add a small fabric strap to it so that it can be removed the next time you change the batteries. Once the battery with the fabric strap has been positioned, insert it into the pack by sliding the spring side of the battery towards the spring and force it into the pack. Before closing the tube, make sure that the hydrophone is switched off, that the switch cap is removed, and that all cables are correctly connected. Check that the correctly configured SD card is present. Check the condition of the tube seals. If any of the seals are worn or damaged, or have cuts or cracks, they must be replaced before using the system. Check the joints for cleanliness and proper lubrication. Block the tube upright between your legs, the lower tube end on the floor, and insert the inner part of the tube into it. Very important, make sure there is no wire or other debris protruding that could get caught between the tube and the rim. Guide the 5 threaded rods into their corresponding holes on the top end of the tube and push them in all the way. Add the 4 wing nuts and the anchorage ring to their respective threaded rods and tighten them. Add the locking pin to the anchorage ring. Grease the switch cap as described in the operating instructions and then put the switch cap back in place. Screw it on using 1.5 turns. Check the tightness of the lock nut on the lower end of the tube. Check the LEDs for potential malfunctions. The green LED indicates that the system has recognized the SD card and is ready for acquisition start. The orange LED indicates that the system is recording. It is best to carry out a check in a water tank or swimming pool before any assignments at sea. To install the hydrophone, plan to have a team of 3 to 4 people. Head to the center of the 4 GPS points recorded to find the buoy. Divers need to ensure they have enough plastic clamps available and easily accessible. Aboard the boat, check the tube one last time to make sure that there are no openings, that nothing is trapped between the joints, and that the nuts are tightly closed. The tube is transferred to the first diver in the water, keeping the hydrophone up and batteries down. Careful to keep the hydrophone free from any risk of impact with the boat. It is the most fragile part of the equipment. The divers check for no visible water infiltration in the tube and for no air bubbles forming at the joints. In case of doubt, the tube is immediately brought to the surface and returned to the boat, where it is rinsed with fresh water, dried, and checked. If any water has infiltrated the tube, put the tube back upright to avoid contact with the circuit board. Make sure that all the material is dry before putting it back in the water. The tube is installed on the end, hydrophone pointing downwards using plastic clamps. Fasten the first clamp to the top ring, then the second clamp to the bottom ring. Tighten them as much as possible, taking care to put them at the right place. Fasten additional clamps along the threaded rod to prevent any movement from the end along the tube that would generate noise. Switch on the hydrophone by turning the switch until the green LED lights up. To retrieve the hydrophone, anticipate again a team of 3 to 4 people and head to the GPS point to find the buoy. Using pliers, cut the clamps starting from the bottom. Retrieve them before they float off in the water. Be careful, do not damage the tip when releasing the tube and do not lose the tube. The simplest way is for one diver to hold the tube while the other cuts the clamps. Finally, bring the tube back, taking care with the hydrophone when getting back on the boat.